Yeah, there were a total of 16 trades made overall. There were 9 trades made the final hours right before the deadline. Let's just recap a couple of the important ones. Detroit Lions, who've been beset by injuries to the defensive front, losing Aiden Hutchinson, their superstar pass rusher, losing Marcus Davenport, the pass rusher on the other side, losing one of the defensive tackles. They traded with Cleveland. The Browns kind of getting into fire sale mode because their season has collapsed. They got Zadarius Smith. They got him for, I think it was a 5th-round draft pick. Zadarius Smith is big and physical. He's a rock-solid defensive end, so that was a good acquisition. The Steelers, who historically have never been involved in trades, got involved in trades. Pittsburgh traded for Mike Williams, the ex-Charger wide receiver, had been with the New York Jets, and they did something really out of their nature. They traded a 5th-round pick to get Mike Williams, who is age 30, 31, big play guy down the field, averaging 13 yards per catch. That was one acquisition, and then an hour later, they made another acquisition. They went and got another pass rusher. His name is Preston Smith. He was a rock-solid starter, tough against the run, a little bit of a pass rush guy, came from Green Bay. They got him. So the Steelers, who historically have never traded picks, traded 2 picks to make these deals to get Mike Williams and to get Preston Smith. Washington, this deal came out of nowhere. Nobody expected this. New Orleans was giving up on the season, traded cornerback Marshawn Lattimore. Now, he's been injured this year. He goes to play for Dan Quinn, Washington Commanders. He's a really gifted cover corner. That is going to be a great addition to the Washington defense. And Arizona made a trade with the Denver Broncos. Broncos had elected to put Baron Browning, a pretty good rush linebacker, on the trade block. He goes to the Cardinals, and he's going to play for John Gannon. That coach, quietly and efficiently, has really made Arizona a much more competitive defensive team than they showed the last group of years. So they get Baron Browning, who I think was a pretty good linebacker in Denver, and he's going to add to their pass rush to go with what seems to be an offense that's really evolving thanks to Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison and what they've done with James Conner. So suddenly, out in the desert, Arizona looks like they're a player in the NFC. They're having a much better season than I actually thought they would be. John, your thoughts on the trades?
Wow. Yeah, the Cardinals, they've been in the bottom for so long, so it'd be nice to see them progress. But I'm intrigued by the Steelers getting Mike Williams, because now that Russell Wilson is the quarterback, he's been pretty effective, a lot better than Justin Fields. What's the receiving core for the Steelers? I'm trying to remember the big names.
The big name is George Pickens, big, rangy wide receiver, but he's hot and cold. But now you put Mike Williams on the other side, and suddenly George Pickens might not be looking at double coverage all the time. So what you got is a real deep threat guy versus Mike Williams, who can create physical mismatches. He's a big guy from Clemson. He can make the tough catches over the middle. And they have a third receiver, Pat Freiermuth, who catches a ton of balls out of the tight end slot. And obviously they've got Najee Harris, the running back. So suddenly Russell Wilson's got some components around him to make plays down the field. And Pittsburgh, I would have never ever imagined this. And you can lie to me if you want. Could you ever imagine Pittsburgh been 6-2 at this point of the season?
No way.
When they started the year, they had 2 one-year rental quarterbacks you didn't know.
Yeah, that's incredible, the work that Mike Tomlin has done there. But how do you feel if you're a Green Bay Packer like Jordan Love? They traded away one of their defense rush guys. So, I mean, does that put them at a disadvantage?
No, because they've got young guys. And I think this was a salary cap-related thing, and Preston Smith was not getting all the snaps at defensive end. He'd become a situational guy. I think I had been told that maybe he asked for a trade. That's okay. So he goes to Pittsburgh, who's got a really good defensive front with Cam Hayward on one side, and you got a physical veteran now on the other side, Preston Smith. And they've always got active linebackers, make all kinds of things happen. So, but like I said, Pittsburgh came out of character. They traded 2 draft picks. Hell, they haven't traded draft picks ever. Not in a long time.
But Pittsburgh usually outsmarts everybody in this league, so maybe they're changing their tune as the business of football is changing.
New general manager, Omar Khan.
Oh, okay, there you go. That explains.
Modern-day general manager, conducting business a little bit differently. So you give up 5th and 6th round picks, but you get Mike Williams, who's going to make Pickens a much more dangerous receiver, and you get help from T.J. Watt on the defensive side with that other defensive end. And then what do you think about Washington? I mean, I think Dan Quinn's done a hell of a job. Jaden Daniels has been a surprise rookie. And now you get Marshawn Lattimore, really good athletic cover corner.
I just like the fact that Washington's NFL team is relevant again.
Yes.
It's been so long, and it's great to see the young kid have a lot of success. So, good on you, Washington. Just let's go make it happen.
Okay, all things NFL. You got a comment on the trade deadline? Feel free to jump on board. By the way, the Chargers did not make any deals. And a lot of controversy in L.A. Why would Joe Ortiz not do anything? Well, there's the rationale is suddenly Justin Herbert has made all those receivers much more dangerous. Suddenly, Quentin Johnston isn't dropping footballs, and he's making big plays down the field and yards after catch. Suddenly, Ladd McConkey looks like the player we thought he would be when he got drafted. And suddenly, Josh Palmer, who's been dinged up, he's catching tough receptions down the sidelines and over the middle. He's making plays, and all of a sudden, Ortiz says, I don't need to trade a fifth-round pick for Mike Williams. I got at least 3 guys we now can trust to work with Justin Herbert. That's the rationale. Make sense?
It does make sense. Initially, you were wondering why they didn't make the deals, but all those guys are performing. Ladd McConkey, to me, looks like he's still 16 years old.
Oh, but he's a tough dude running out of the slot.
Yeah, he does a great job. So good on Herbert. He's got some good targets.
I'll send an email to Joe Ortiz. To Joe from Hacksaw. R.E., let it rip. Just let Herbert do what Herbert does well. I mean, the numbers he's putting up are pretty impressive. But do protect him, do pass block.
Yeah, but who's the offensive coordinator again? Gray Roman?
Yeah.
I mean, is he going to want to go to an unbalanced attack, do you think? Or is he going to stick to his guns?
He may stick to his guns, but part of those guns are firing blanks because they're not running the football very well. To me, the most important thing going forward, better pass protection for Justin Herbert. That's huge.
It's cool. You see a lot of the offensive linemen really protecting their guy. And if it's like I think it was like the last
2 weeks ago in New Orleans, the guy took a cheap shot.
Yeah, and then the
starting center Bozeman.
Yeah, he knocks the guy over, and I love that. I mean, they're standing up for their guy.
Yeah, and by the way, the guy that created that havoc with the late hit and bending Justin Herbert's ankle and foot, almost a $12,000 fine from the league.
Good. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, that's all things NFL. Jump in board. Fans Forum chat box is open.